Hi there, welcome to my views and news. Three news stories. First one is from Oromia, Wollega, where several residents of some Kabyles in Wollega have been killed in an operation by Ethiopian military. Or the residents from the Amhara ethnic group, what happened in East Wollega, Geda Ayana district. Secondly, Oromo Liberation Front issued a statement a few hours ago criticizing the release of some people by Ethiopian government. Thirdly, Tigray interim administration cabinet has approved a draft for the formation of Tigray Advisory Council. How is this establishment of an advisory council is going to be received uh, by TPLF? TPLF is holding a meeting. We know that the meeting kicked off around 48 hours ago. Firstly, viewers, Vallega, a conflict area for years. Wollega is a western part of Oromia where several players are involved. Oromo Liberation Army uses Wollega as one of its strongholds. Oromia forces are deployed here to Ethiopian National Defense Force here as well. Oromia government has raised militias too in Wollega. There are armed Amharas too now in Wollega. Muslims, Orthodox Christians. Oromos are arming themselves to local Oromos. Some groups operating in the name of Ola too, because of visas, Ola. There are several players operating in Wollega. Amharas claim that they are being expelled from Wollega, that ethnic cleansing is being committed. Oromia forces, Ola, all are committing the atrocities against Amharas and they're being expelled from Wollega into neighboring Amhara region. Yes, IDPs have been entering Amhara region for years. IDPs from Wollega, mostly Amharas. But recently we saw that Ethiopian government decided to return the IDPs of Wollega from Amhara back into Wollega. And dozens of IDPs have returned reportedly in the past few weeks. But ethnic tensions and security unrest continues in Wollega. It is being reported by several sources that Ethiopian military regional forces have launched an operation in East Wollega. Geda Ayana is the name of the district. Dicho, and though their Dicho is the name of the Kabyle, where for the last 48 hours this operation is being conducted. Operation led to start a fighting between Amhara locals and Ethiopian forces military. Military wants to disarm Amhara locals here. Military wants to ensure that no logistical aid arrives here from the Amhara region for those groups in Wollega which are trying to arm themselves. They have already armed themselves. The pro-Amhara news sources are reporting as if military has committed a massacre and dozens have been killed in Wollega in this operation by military. But what we have learned is that this is basically a disarmament operation by military. Military wants to ensure that no one is armed in Wollega. Difficult to achieve that because Amharas of Wollega say that they are vulnerable to attacks from Ola, from government forces. So they're organizing themselves in self-defense. Military does not want to see weaponization of Wollega. The Wollega is weaponized, by the way. But deaths are being confirmed. Difficult to say how many have been killed, but the number of killed is in it's around a dozen reportedly. Who are the killed people? Ordinary ethnic Amharas or Amhara youths who have been trying to arm themselves. By the way, Wellega has been closed for years. No access for international media, for human rights organizations, in some cases for aid organizations to Wellega. So no one really knows. Amhara groups say that Amharas are being massacred, and now Oromo say that the Fanos from Amhara they're entering Wollega and they're harassing Oromos. Secondly, viewers, Oromo Liberation Front issued a statement a few hours ago criticizing the decision by the government to release people selectively. PMRB, around a week ago, spoke about reconciliation, forgiveness in connection with ongoing fasting by Muslims, Orthodox Christians. And then he released two top prisoners, Abdile, former Somali region's president, Kinfedagno, a major general of Ethiopian National Defense Force, former chief of MATEC, Metal and Engineering Corporation, he is from Tigray, have been released. Charges have been dropped. I criticized the decision of the government as well. I said that if the two are innocent, they shouldn't have been put in prison. If they are guilty, why were they released? Just because they are from powerful background. Oromo Liberation Front is asking similar questions. OLF says that its entire leadership is in prison, starting from workers till top tier leaders. Daudipsa and others have been in prison or under house arrest. Daudipsa has been under house arrest. And in most cases, courts have granted bails. Court have acquitted OLF leaders in the cases in which they were implicated. But still, government is not releasing OLF members. But those who were facing trial, were facing charges of misappropriation, of killing of people, they are being released by the government. This is selective decision by the government to give favor to a few people. OLF's criticism is very valid, but Infedagno and Abdile are two individuals. OLF is a political party. It's the political face of Oromo Liberation Army. I think if OLF is suffering, it's because of Ola. The day government strikes a deal with Ola or the government reaches some sort of understanding with Ola, OLF members will be released. Government does not want chaos to be reorganized. It does not want Ola to get stronger. That is why it has been conducting operations against OLF. Thirdly, was Tigray, where a few weeks ago, a few months ago, Getachew Reda's interim government announced the establishment of Tigray Advisory Council. And back then, the interim administration said that since Tigray had no working regional council, so there was need for such a body with representation from all quarters of Tigray, so that inclusive decisions could be made. We know that in Tigray, election was held in 2020, but that election was declared null and void by Ethiopian parliament. Then war broke out. War went on for 2 years, and when Pretoria was signed, Tigray agreed that new election will be held. So there is no regional council in Tigray now. There is just interim government. interim administration, interim cabinet led by Gita Chawla. The interim cabinet held a meeting yesterday, and the interim cabinet approved a draft for the establishment of Tigray Advisory Council. Draft has been approved. Work is going to start. Tigray Advisory Council is going to be established now. 2 points only. How will TPLF respond to it? Because I remember when the idea of establishment of advisory council was shared by Tigray interim government, idea was not welcomed by TPLF. TPLF wants to be the main player in Tigray. It saw that move as a way of sidelining the party. And TPLF is holding a meeting. We know that since for the last 2 days, TPLF leaders have been meeting. Their meeting is a continuation of their earlier long meeting, and secondly, they are discussing some recent developments too, like Tigray Amhara leaders meeting, like what happened at Pretoria implementation talks. So let's see. And secondly, is this advisory council being established to uh, make decisions in Tigray about status of Rai and Volkas? Because Tigray and Amhara leaders have met now. IDP's return could start. Maybe in coming days, Tigray will have to make a decision about the establishment of interim setups in Rai and Volkait, and maybe then holding of referendum too. Tigray has been saying that a referendum cannot be considered by the current interim administration because it does not have the mandate, it does not have the legal power, and that can only be decided by Tigray Regional Council, which will be formed after the holding of election in Tigray. Maybe Tigray Advisory Council could play a role here too in creating consensus in Tigray and ensuring a unified position of Tigray with the federal government about the idea of holding of referendum in Raya and let's see what happens. Thank you.